House on the Left remake twice now, and I did a previous review of it maybe a week ago, and I let it marinate for a little while, and I think I might have been a little bit too hard on it, but I could understand some of the semi-negative reviews of it, or at least the neutral reviews. Alright, from seeing it twice now and just giving myself some time to think about it before this review, this re-review, I should say. I guess to sum it up for me, it kind of got right what the original didn't, but then didn't quite get right what the original got right. For instance, I think the original's documentary feel kind of added to the realism in the long improvised takes, at least most of them. When actors improvise, it kind of comes off more real to me. And then when everything's scripted and rehearsed, it's just more Hollywoodish, which is what the remake was. It was shot like a regular movie. All the everything was scripted. No long documentary style takes, and in that way, I guess the remake was better acted, I thought, at least from the parents, in this one played by Tony Goldwyn and Monica Potter. Tony Goldwyn, you might know from, he was the bad guy in Ghost, with Patrick Swayze and Demi Moore, and then Monica Potter, the only thing I know her from is Saw 1. She played Dr. Gordon's wife. And I think the parents are much better acted this time around than the original parents, who were, I think, soap opera actors. But they were just kind of hokey and corny, in my opinion. I guess a lot of acting in low-budget movies like that in that time was kind of just hokey and corny. And then the girls in the original, even though during the serious, like the rape and torture scenes, their acting was good and, at least real enough, or it was adequate. It got the point across. But at other times, like in the beginning, I don't know. Well, they were okay. They were all right. But I think the girls in the new one, they were kind of more developed, I guess, or at least the main girl, Mary. I thought she was a little more developed in this one, and the acting was more convincing a little bit than in the original. And at times, I mean, I think the situations themselves in the original kind of made up for whatever flaws were in the acting. But, and then David Hess's performance with what are their names? Fred Lincoln and Jeremy Rain, their performances kind of helped the girls' performances in the original. But in the remake, they were all pretty strong actors, including the bad guys. The new guy, the new crew, played by Garret Dillahunt. I thought he was very menacing and scary, although not as sadistic as David Hess. David Hess seemed to get more fun out of what he was, or at least his version of crew seemed to do what he did more for fun, just out of he was just more sadistic about it and did it with a lot more glee, whereas this new guy, he's just kind of doing it more out of necessity. There's not that much sadistic torture and humiliation. There's only just him, being pissed off and kind of just scary and intimidating, and maybe not quite as charismatic in the role as David Hess was, but they're both pretty good in their own rights. Including, and then there's the new Sadie, and then Krug's brother Frank, who I mean he was Weasel in the original, and then now his name is Frank or Francis, and they're saying that he's his brother. So I thought he did a good job. He kind of played it similarly. He was sort of a schmuck, for lack of a better word, but really, kind of a loose cannon as well. And let me see, Sadie, she was loopy and kind of sadistic like Jeremy Rain, although I don't know, maybe not as charismatic. I don't know. They were both pretty good. It's kind of hard to compare the two. But let me see. Shit, just drew a blank. Yeah, the plot, the story's basically the same, except in this time in the remake, the girls they're at a vacation house. They're not at their own house, and I guess they lived there at some point because Mary, she had a brother who died, and then she has a friend Paige who lives out there, so they must all they must know the place already. But yeah, she meets up with Paige, and then they meet Justin, played by Spencer Treat Clark. They meet him at the convenience store that Paige works at, and Justin overhears them talking about weed. They want to score some weed somewhere, and he comes up and he wants some cigarettes. So they ask for ID. He's too young. He doesn't have ID. He wants a pass. So it's like, I'll help you if you help me. And that's when he tells him about the weed. And then they kind of give you a little clue that he's, that something's up, because he has a bloody dollar bill in his wallet. But yeah, they go back with him to a motel and then just start smoking weed, chilling. And then Krug and the gang, they show up after escaping, and during the opening sequence, where he's in a car, being driven somewhere, by some cops, and then when they stop at a train, train crossing, Sadie and Francis crash a car into the cops. They break Krug free, and then that's how they end up back at the motel, and then that's where all hell starts to break loose.